For too long, our country has been held back by red and green tape stifling economic development. For too long, obstruction has got in the way of growth. Fast Track is all about getting New Zealand moving. The Labour Party set up Fast Track themselves. So they had their own Fast Track. David Parker listed, from memory, around 20 projects for inclusion in their own Fast Track regime. So we have taken the model that they themselves pioneered. We have essentially elevated it. We've selected more projects. We've made it into a one-stop shop regime, and we are going to put it through the Parliament. But David Parker and the Labour Party realised that the RMA was a stumbling block to growth, and it stopped projects happening that the government wanted to happen. That's why Labour created their own fast track process and selected their own projects for listing in the bill. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and it's a bit rich for the Labour Party to complain about something that they themselves created. We have supercharged it, but we are going to put it into law and get on with the projects that New Zealand needs to grow and get ahead. All 149 projects Cabinet has agreed were recommended for listing in the bill by the Independent Advisory Group. Houses, roads, ports, renewables, quarries and mines are all fundamental requirements for our economy to thrive. Having these projects fast-track will mean that we can continue moving at pace to deliver a new generation of roads of national significance and roads of regional significance to support economic growth and get New Zealand people and freight to where they need to go quickly and safely. There are 22 renewable energy projects on the list, which will help electrify the New Zealand economy, boost our energy security, and help New Zealand address its climate change goals. New Zealand has abundant renewable energy resources. It's one of our comparative advantages as a country. But the planning system puts barrier after barrier in the way of taking advantage of these resources. Collectively, the 22 projects will contribute an additional 3 gigawatts of generation capacity if they're all consented. The 11 mining projects will make a major contribution to our objective of doubling the value of our mineral exports to $2 billion by 2035, extracting coal, gold, iron sands and mineral sands. These mining projects are expected to deliver measurable benefits to regional and national GDP, highly skilled and highly paid jobs in the regions, and other associated benefits like the retention of regional infrastructure. Fundamentally, the Fast Track Approvals Bill is about getting New Zealand moving, cutting through the red and green tape that has created an obstruction economy. The Fast Track Bill is about creating an environment where we can get on and build the projects New Zealand needs to get ahead. We've got a very ambitious goal as a government around our renewable energy in the country. We have abundant renewable energy resources in this country. You know, we have wind, some of the best wind in the world, high capacity factors for our wind farms. Solar is increasingly economic in New Zealand. We have geothermal, we have a whole range, we have obviously hydro, which is well established in New Zealand and plays a major role in the security of the grid. And we want New Zealanders to take more advantage of our renewable energy resources, and that will be a major driver towards the electrification of the economy, which reduces emissions over time. Our housing crisis, over the last 20 years we've seen the fastest house price growth in the Western world. And it's crazy because we're only 5 million people in a country the land mass the size of the United Kingdom. There is no reason for us to have a housing crisis. It is restrictive planning rules that have enabled that housing crisis and enriched a whole series of people who have been able to take advantage of the circles we draw around our major cities and the restrictive planning rules that enable land prices to appreciate at unsustainable rates. So Fast Track is about smashing through some of those barriers. Fundamentally, housing prices are driven by supply and demand, and we are intensely focused as a government on the supply side of the equation. There is no other sustainable long-term way to address our housing crisis other than focusing on the fundamentals, which is about land supply and making sure that houses can be built. And that is the driver of our focus as a government in relation to housing, is freeing up land both inside our cities and at the edge of our cities, and sorting out the infrastructure constraints that mean that houses simply can't be built because of a lack of infrastructure. We are dealing with the fundamentals, and that will help everybody. It will help New Zealanders who are looking for a warm and dry home. It will help public housing as well. But there's no doubt that these projects, if consented, will make a major contributor to addressing our housing crisis. We are in a recession. We have been for the better part of 2 years. We have been a low growth economy. This government wants New Zealand to be a high growth economy. Growth is what enables the economy to provide flourishing jobs and the public services that we depend on. The reason why Australia has better public services than New Zealand is because they are 30% wealthier than we are. And the reason they are is because for 30 years they have grown faster than New Zealand. We want New Zealand to be an ambitious country with high quality public services and with good paying jobs so that New Zealanders can conceive of their own conception of the good life, look after their families and enjoy the kind of material comforts that other countries enjoy. That's what growth means. We've got to get back to an economy where growth is paramount and we do as much as we can to get growth into the arteries of this economy. That hasn't been the case for a large number of years. Part of that is our planning laws. It makes it hard to do quarries, hard to do mines, hard to build wind farms. Why does it take years and years to consent wind farms? Why does it take years and years to consent new housing subdivisions? All of these problems have been inherent in the New Zealand economy for so long. Fast track is not the sole answer, but it's a big part of the solution to our growth challenges as a country. This government was elected to rebuild the economy, and it was also elected to make tough decisions. Rebuilding our economy is going to take time, and it's going to involve a series of tough decisions, and the fast track bill is one of the ways that we can rebuild the economy and grow our way out of the recession that we've been in for the last 2 years. It's about jobs and growth and about economic development, and ultimately that is good for all New Zealanders. We are a government that does not shy away from those tough decisions. We have to make some big calls to grow our economy. We've inherited a problem in lots of different areas and we're just working our way through solving it. Thanks.